Welcome to Nintendo Ninja News. I'm your host, Chris Tysis. We're here to talk about Kotaku's article about Metroid Dread, which openly promotes the piracy of Metroid Dread, which is pretty horrifying when I found out about it. Now, normally, people do emulation uh, of games because the console is decades old, or you can't buy it in your country, or it's just not available in those type of scenarios that people might do emulation. But you don't promote piracy on a new fucking game. So let's have a look at this article, which I cannot believe. I'm not going to show you the links, but I will show you some of the article. So this Zach guy, all you need to know is that he's an idiot, and he has openly promoted the piracy of this game. So he says, "Hey, real quick, if you're a Nintendo lawyer or employee, just like don't read this. It was a silly mistake. Ignore this blog. You can go now. Okay, everyone else." And he goes on to basically show um and tell how good it looks in 4K via emulation. Now, the reason why I'm not going to scroll down is that he has embedded a tweet that shows you what the Switch emulator is and where to actually download the goddamn game. I'm like, this is just absolutely insane. The fact that he is sort of openly, showcasing these links and the possibility of people emulating uh, a Switch game like Metroid Dread, and sort of, he's not saying run out and do the emulation, but he's not also saying run out and buy the Switch game. The fact that he's openly promoting um, this level of piracy is quite disgusting. I've never seen anything like this before. So we're going to take it back to my own face here because I don't know if I can show it. So the tweet that I will describe to you basically says experience the dread smoother, faster, and on your PC, playable in the latest release. And the tweet that he puts into his article um, basically takes you to the download for the actual emulator. Now, finding the game downloaded somewhere online probably won't take people forever, but the fact that he's actually openly promoting it, here's another part of the article I show off. So, not only he talks about the open source emulator, he gives you a nice link to it. And he shows off a second emulator that he talks about that goes at 4K, which is still pretty disgusting. Oh, he's also put in a goddamn um, video link to it so you can see it running 4K. Now, obviously, these emulators are probably not going to be that good, and his last um, paragraph, by the look of it, is you want to play the rest of the Metroid franchise and don't want to shelve out large amounts of money on old school game consoles and games. Your best bet is also emulation, and of course, Nintendo's not a real big fan of it, but he says, thank God for piracy, which um, this is a pretty disgusting article that someone would even publish. I'm generally surprised that someone would, as a journalist and people who actually get review codes from Nintendo, would write an article and go, hey kids, let's go do some piracy today. Here's the link to the emulator software. You just go off to, you know, a pirated website and you go and find and download Metroid Dread and whatever other new releases that might come out on the Switch. Um, I'm generally surprised that someone would be that dumb to do something like that. And not only this is promoting the piracy of the game, but could also affect the sales of the game. People looking and go, should I pay $60 or should I just download the game, right? And that's just not on. So I'm pretty disgusted that this has happened to a new release game, which is really bizarre. And for someone to write something like this is probably one of the most unprofessional things that I've seen from a video game journalist that I've seen. I've seen some real crap online. We've talked about how video game journalism is sort of, somewhere between a current affair and today tonight. If you're an Australian, you probably know where I'm coming from. To journalistic TV shows, which is sort of gutter trash, and Kotoka is sort of a bit like that. Their quality is not that great, and that's why I don't even go to that website because they don't really do great work. And this takes the cake in terms of openly promoting emulation to a new release game. Now, I wonder what Nintendo's going to think about that if they see this, and I'm sure they're getting review codes from Nintendo, and I'm sure that they're getting stuff from other publishers. Not only they're promoting to pirate the game, but potentially any other Switch game because he's just shared a link to an emulator. So this is an absolute bizarre, disgusting thing to do. Video game journalism needs to really clean up its act. So I've ranted for a few minutes and shown you some of the details of it, but I just can't believe this stuff actually happens. So let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think video game journalists should be promoting emulation links and advocating and showing off? Hey, you should go pirate some new video games. Which they probably got for free via review code. I would really love to see what Nintendo thinks about it. And I wouldn't be surprised if they find out. Because the real Nintendo ninjas are pretty good at finding out piracy stuff. Especially, on a big website like this. And I've seen that the article writer doesn't seem to think it's such a big deal. And I think that really does show the low level and the low professional grade there is in video game journalism. And the writer himself just looks at it and goes, "Hmm, I don't think it's much of a big deal." That's the type of journalism we get in video games, unfortunately, and that's why the world of video games has so many problems: sexual assault, abuse, triple A companies running riot. Is when you have a level of journalism that is pretty low. That's it for me, and I'll see you next time.